The January 10, 2023 work session of the Montgomery County Board of Education will come to order. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us this evening. Please remember to mute all electronic devices. A majority of the voting members present shall constitute a quorum for a meeting of our Board of Education. We do have all 7 members present. I declare a quorum is present. The agenda was emailed earlier. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda by unanimous consent. That is, without a voice vote, standing vote, roll call, or hand raise. The question before you, is there any objection to adopting the agenda before you? Is there any objection?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's not yes, it's just a comment. I just got the agenda, like, yesterday. The agenda was not attached, and I think 2 or 3 other people didn't have it attached either.
It was in assembly.
Okay. It was? Okay. I was looking for it, then that's my bad for not looking at that. Go ahead.
Okay. Is there objection to adopting the agenda? Hearing no objections, the agenda is adopted. There are several reports on tap to be received as updates. This is for information only. We will take those in the order that they are printed on the agenda. The first item is from Volkert, Inc. That update will be presented by Ms. Laura Penn. Ms. Penn.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Laura Penn with Volkert. Mr. Slater unfortunately could not be here tonight. He had a surgery the week of Christmas and is home recovering from that surgery, and we fully expect him to be back before y'all next month for the next board meeting. So, Dr. Brown, board members, thank you for allowing me to come and do our monthly board update. So tonight, we want to highlight the children's campus. We're doing it. And just to kind of give you reference for this campus, it's located off of the upper Wetumpka Road, and it faces north Madison Terrace. Our project architect is TRI Architecture and Interior Design, and she is actually a female and minority-owned business owner. So we are thrilled to have Teresa with us and partner with MPS on this program. The project is actually minor interior renovations and site upgrades to the campus. So our project scope of work, we plan to improve the bus canopy at the back drive. We're going to improve ADA connectivity from the school to the student outdoor covered playground area. We're going to provide upgrades and improve upon the existing laundry space that the campus has. And then we're going to also improve the floor transition from the corridor to the exterior courtyard in order for those students to actually enjoy that space. So to give an overall site layout, this is aerial looking down at the actual campus. What I've got highlighted in the eastern portion of the site, kind of looks like a horseshoe, is where we're going to have a new canopy added and extended in order to accommodate the bus drop-off and pickup for these students. Additionally, to the south of the existing building, where it's highlighted, it looks, just a straight line down. We're going to make an ADA ramp and handrail at that location in order for connectivity for these students to be able to utilize that playground space. Our interior improvements includes within the existing kitchen area, we're going to do some minor demolition to the dishwashing area to improve upon the laundry that they currently have. So we're going to include the equipment enclosure as well as the commercial style washer and dryer. And then of course it's going to entail the electrical and plumbing connection as needed. Within the interior of the school, the corridor space, our plan is to repair the floor tile at the transition, the door transition from the corridor out into the exterior courtyard area. So while it's small in scale, this is a huge impact for this little campus. The Principal Hubbard, has been a part of the discussions and has given her input on things that she would love to see take place at this campus in order to improve the areas for the students to actually access. So it's a big thing. So kind of to look ahead, right now, 2022, we worked real hard getting contracts executed. We started project design. And so coming into 2023, we are finally to the point where we're starting the advertisement for bid. So that's big. That's kudos to this group. Currently right now, the advertisement for bid is active. We've got scheduled on site at the campus our pre-bid conference, and that's scheduled for next Thursday, January 19th at 3 p.m. The bid opening is scheduled for the following Thursday, January 26th at 2 p.m. And then pending favorable results, we will bring forth to you guys next month a recommendation to award and enter into a contract with the Lowe general contractor. So that's kind of what's on the agenda for next month from us moving into February. MBE, DBE reporting. Roll through the next one. Just to kind of give y'all a recap, total professional services, we're currently over $21 million in total professional services. Of that total, our MBE, DBE participation is a little over $10 million, which equates to 51% current participation within the program. Huge. The goal of MPS was 35%. We're at 51%, and we only hope for it to continue to increase going into the construction phase, as well as furniture and as well as technology. The last thing we wanted to notate and make sure that the board was aware of, as well as community, we have planned our construction service forum for next Tuesday, January 17th. We did this for the professional service side. We plan to do this for the construction service side. It is a way for us to blast out information to potential MBE, DBE contractors and subcontractors who are interested and want to be a part of this building program. And so this is going to be held next Tuesday from 2 to 3. The location currently, we've got it at MPS Central Office, which I think, and Jade, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the new location? Yes. So that's when it's going to take place. I know Tania Johns, Alicia Phillips, and Micah LaCroix have worked really hard on getting our list and sending the notification out to interested bidders to come, be a part, meet everyone within the community, and let's form some partnerships. So we hope it's going to be a successful forum. Questions or comments?
Thank you, Ms. Penn. Are there questions from Ms. Penn?
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next report is the facilities update from Mr. Chad Anderson. And Mr. Anderson, when you complete facilities update, you can move into the train contract.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Well, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
unless there are questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Brown, members of the board. If you'll look at your spreadsheet with me, we've already received the Volkert Capital Project update. The central office consolidation, I was able to provide some progress photos. I got those the day I was sending those out, so you should have gotten those packets. And giving you greater detail than what's just in this paragraph here, but we are still tracking ahead of schedule. We've had some site delay, of course, with the rain and everything going on there, but they are still continuing to work on what they can as far as pouring sidewalks, curb and gutter, especially on that east side of things, and then we still continue to work on the MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing on that east side. Most of that is completed on the west side, the 3-story building side, and they're continuing to work on that. They did get the roof on the lower part of the east side of Union Street there, and they were putting in windows and glazing this week as well. You'll start to see some cleanup. Some of our people, our tree contractor, is working on cleaning up the frontage there from 85. So you'll see those trees, those old trees and shrubs start to come down in front of that fencing on both sides of Union Street there. The BTW red light, we're working with a contractor there. It's a little bit different contract than our typical, because it's not really a Department of Construction Management project. It's more of a DOT, Department of Transportation project, so it doesn't quite operate the same as far as some of our procedures with the state of Alabama, but we're working with a contractor on that to get that going as quickly as possible as well for the BTW red light. And then the BTW construction update, you see from the progress photos, they're working full steam ahead. When it's just out there within the last hour, they've got more concrete poured from the progress photos. They've got most of the metal walls up on the metal paneling up on the gymnasium. Still waiting some glass and doors, but they have sealed up the performing arts and black box side to turn on some of the HVAC. They did that so that they can complete some of those finishes. They don't want to put out all of the cabinetry and those sort of things without a controlled climate in there. But they were able to do that and get that sealed up while waiting on those doors. Mainly the doors is what we're waiting on in that area. And then the site work, the south side, we're waiting on drier weather to help us with that. That prairie soil is a little bit more difficult to deal with as concerning site work. But the north side is fairly complete. Most of your sidewalks, curb and gutter are in there. And again, they poured the concrete walkway to the main entrance there. So that is really starting to clean up and look better to the top side, to the north side. Goodwin HVAC, we met with the principal yesterday and looked at the first phases of that project. It's going to actually work out a little better than we anticipated as far as the logistics of it. First phase should only affect, I believe it's 2 classrooms. The rest are kind of office spaces and bathrooms. Principal is really great to work with there and always does a great job with us on that. We're anticipating a delivery of the glass and the metal panel window walls that'll be coming in the week of February the 3rd. Again, those things have been rather hard to get our hands on, but that's what they've been given from the manufacturer. They're going to start setting up the Connex boxes, those big construction type boxes to store things on the back side, and start moving over some equipment that they can secure there with that, and get ready for that construction to start somewhere around the week of February the 10th. Each phase of it will take about 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to give them 4 weeks on this first one to kind of work out the kinks. There is mitigation in that with, or abatement in that with some of the caulking around the front of the school. They did find some asbestos in the caulking on the outside of the school, so they'll do the abatement process with that as we go along. The way it will work is the abatement team will come in and do their abatement, then the contractors will come in and put the plywood up in between while the windows are for temporary placement, and then they'll work their way along, and they figure 2 to 3 week time on each phase of that project. It'll work like 3 classrooms up and 3 classrooms down. The Brutec HVAC is tracking ahead. believe its anticipated percentage is 30%. We're at 35%, so we're working ahead on that HVAC project and working with them on some other items. Again, we've contacted a civil engineer to start looking at a track and field area out in front of the school there. So should have some details on that towards the spring, and then work with Mr. Watts as far as funding for that project down the road. The logistics roof and renovation is going on very well there. They're actually on the roof part. Most of the interior finishes are being completed. They're working on MEP, on mechanical, electrical, plumbing, on the build out that's on the inside to get rid of the portable on the outside. The McKee, all these roofs, McKee, MLK, Fitzpatrick, Vaughn Road, Wares Ferry, and maintenance. We did receive 2 more of the full contracts with Vaughn Road and Wares Ferry. We just await the maintenance shop re-roof. That's a smaller contract. We anticipate that any day. Those roofs, we're waiting on pre-construction for that, meeting with the state of Alabama. We're trying to do it on some closeouts from other roofs that we've had to time up the state inspector to come in at that time. He books out pretty good, so it takes a couple of weeks to get him lined up with those things. The J.D. Danley roof replacement, we're still waiting on the anchors for the cafeteria on the Danley side. They've started on the J.D. side, run into a few little bit of snags, and we've worked through that. The cafeteria is where they started first. When they were demoing that part that they poured, found that there used to be old skylights in there with metal paneling, which won't be a problem once we put the new roof over it, but has presented a little bit of an issue with some of the rains that have come in. Logistics has helped with some of those cleanups and taking care of that as the rains are coming in. We should be starting to seal that up pretty soon. We had to rerun the electrical in that area because the electrical was running on top of the roof and was poured into the old roof. So a little bit of figuring it out there. We've got a better plan moving forward with all the other areas, and they're moving along with that. They're going from the cafeteria towards the gym, and I believe they'll work the 9th grade section and then the old part of the building with that. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I hear.
Could you remind us
At which location? Brewtech is Comfort Systems was that contractor that won that low bid. Goodwin is a little bit different because of the windows. We have a general contractor, I believe it's Lovelady that's doing that. And then Comfort Systems is their subcontractor to install the HVAC. Yes,
mainly a comment. Thank you for it was good to hear about Brewtech and the track. I know I advocated for that for a while, and I'm glad to know the funds are there for that project. And you did mention slightly there were other projects that perhaps could be coming down the road. I'd be interested, not at this time, but just to know some of the things that are coming.
Yes, ma'am. We're working, the HVAC was about a $4 or $5 million contract. We're working on refurbishing their weight room. I've already redone all their flooring throughout the school, and I've provided several hundred new chairs for them as well, and just working along the way.
Thank you.
And also we're doing some field work right now over there for the softball field and the soccer field over there, some top dressing on.
Additional questions? Are there further questions? Thank you again, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, ma'am.
Train.
Yes, ma'am. The train contract is just a re-up of the contract that we've had with them, working along. They've done very well for us. Had really good success with them so far, but it's that time period where we had to renegotiate the contract with them. Mr. Rudolph has worked with maintenance on that, and that's what's before you tonight.
Okay. Did I notice that this contract is through 26?
It'll be it's probably a 3-year contract. I can't recall exactly. It's probably a 3-year contract with an ability to extend it 2 more years. The state of Alabama won't let you enter in anything longer than 5 years, but we typically in MPS do 3 years with the ability to extend it 2 more.
Thank you, yes.
And they can be ended at any time with breach of services.
I just have a question that you may not be able to answer today, but I would like for you to get back with me on the
Yes, ma'am.
information. I was just reading through the contract, and I'm nerdy like that, but
Yes, ma'am.
I was a little concerned with, the OSHA, rating for a train, and I'm not accustomed to percentages, for OSHA. I'm more accustomed to, actual numbers like 2.1.
Yes, ma'am.
And they're giving us, it's a wide range, 50% to 60% of, the occurs the average for the industry, and that just seems kind of wide for me. And so I'm just concerned that of their injury levels and their, illnesses level as it relates to OSHA, and, we want to be injury-free if possible, so.
Yes, ma'am, and that's the good thing about an outside contract, an outside vendor. It really doesn't affect us in that standard part of it, and we're not really under those OSHA standards.
Right, I understand that, but
Yes, ma'am.
we don't want to, we don't want people working unsafely on
Oh,
our
yes.
property, right? So,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
yeah,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
if you could just get back with me on that, I would appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
It don't have to be nothing today, just,
Yes, ma'am. They abide by our rules and regulations of what we do when they're on our property. That's always a given.
but the percentage just seems a little bit, it's unsettling.
Okay.
And you're asking in reference to national standards with that company in
Yes.
terms of
Yes.
employee relationships?
Yes,
I'll get some details for you.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Additional questions regarding the train contract? Hearing no further questions, we thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next on our agenda for information will be our November 2022 financial statement. Mr. Watts.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Mr. Superintendent, you should have before you the financial statement for the month of November, which represents the second month of fiscal year 2023. As you're aware, our fiscal year begins October 1st of 2022, or at least for fiscal year 2023, October 1st of 2022. So this financial statement is of November 30th of 2022, which represents the second month of the fiscal year. Information contained in this financial statement is basically the explanation of financial data, which is a brief discussion by me regarding the district's financial standing as of November 2022. A snapshot analysis, which speaks to the financial position of the district as of November of 2022. Monthly budget percentage, of course, again, this is the second month of the fiscal year. There's 12 months in any year, so the amount of expenditures revenues represent about 16.67%. Monthly and annual comparative statement of revenues and expenditures list all of our month-to-date and year-to-date revenues and expenditures and compare that information to prior year. A statement of cash flow, cash received and cash paid for each month of fiscal year 2022, which would be October and November of 2022. A pie chart of cash received and cash paid as of November of 2022. Then there are the F statements, which is our combined balance sheet, speaks to the board's financial position as of that date, and basically an income statement, which is the combined statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, which is basically our income statement. Then, of course, there's a definition of accounting terms. As of November of last year, our ending fund balance was about $62.1 million. As of November this year, in comparison, our general fund balance is about $83.1 million. I do want to say to the board that we would note that probably over the next 2 to 3 months, we'll start receiving an inflow of ad valorem taxes. Those monies are already budgeted throughout the year. As you know, property taxes are normally paid around the month of January. So we will see quite a bit of money, well over $100 million in our fund balance over the next couple of months. But again, those monies are already budgeted throughout the year, including from March of 2023 through September of 2023. Because for the most part, we will not be receiving those funds. We usually get them all within a 2 to 3 month time period. But we are projecting to end the year, of course, with an increase in our fund balance of about $3 to $4 million. I also want to just remind the board of something that was approved last year. Yeah, it was last year. I think we did our budget hearing for FY 2023, I think in September. And we did approve an amount that was needed to complete the central office on Union Street of about $6 million. This is just a recap. We also approved to put $5 million, set $5 million aside for capital replacement. As we all know, one of the things that has really hampered this board was when a HVAC system or a roofing and all those things go out, we did not have the monies to replace those particular items. So we thought that during this time, since we have a decent fund balance now, we wanted to start setting aside monies in those particular accounts. Chad has already developed a schedule for roof replacements, for HVAC replacement, vehicle replacements, and several of the other items that will be coming up. And so we'll have money set aside to be able to pull from that account to be able to pay for those things. We also approved a $3 million to be set aside for technology. One of the great, well, I won't say great, but one of the things that did take place as it relates to these ESSER funds, we were able to do one-to-one with our students. Well, we certainly want to be able to do that when the ESSER funds are gone. As we all know, ESSER funds will expire as of September of 2024. So we thought it would be prudent on our part to start setting aside monies in technology for infrastructure and other technological needs, such as the one-to-one, when those funds are gone, so we can continue to provide the technology needs of our students. So I just want to just recap that to with the board. I'm sure many of you all also have heard that the fiscal year 2024, there's a kind of an influx of monies in the Education Trust Fund. Now, most of these monies are pretty much looked upon as one-time revenues. And I think the legislature is prudent by saying that. Some of the things that we're looking at, mainly requesting from the legislature, is for them to fully fund transportation, the area of transportation. They have not fully funded transportation in a number of years. We're also asking for nurses in every school, for them to pay for nurses in every school. Also, to pretty much assist with emotional, social, psychological supports. We're asking them to put more money in that particular area. Also more money in maintenance. Also more money in safety and security, whether it's DR roles or whatever those particular items would be. So those are just a few of the things that we'll be asking the legislature. I'm sure you all will be hearing about it. I know Dr. Brown and the Superintendent's Association will also be speaking with legislators about some of these things also. But there are a number of areas that we do want them to address while those funds are there. Madam President.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there questions for Mr. Watts?
Just one. What is the, how much of the ESSER funds do we have left over at this point?
Right now, we have about $90-some million in ESSER 3.
And they are allocated towards, I'm sure, other things.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, I would provide a breakdown. I just want to go with the superintendent first, and I'll provide you all a breakdown of every single level. In fact, another board member asked me about the same thing. Every single level, and we have the ESSER report that's on our website, but we're kind of simplifying it into maybe a 1 or 2 page document, that you all could see, but I just want to go with the superintendent, and then we'll pass it on. And that would be, what's today, Tuesday? That'll be sometime this week.
Thank you. Are there other questions?
One, it's just a curiosity. You had said in your report that you said this before, that you continue to remain deeply concerned about student loss.
Yes.
But when I looked for the chart, are we still losing this year too?
Yes.
Where are we? What's our number now?
I don't have that number right now, but I think there's a decrease. This is about 700 students.
Because I think we were like 26. I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
are we
Yes,
hitting in
ma'am.
the 25s
Yes,
now?
ma'am. I think we're going towards 25,000, 25 something now, and some change now.
Okay.
So yes, that is always a concern, because as you know, dollars are tied to student population from
Okay.
both the state level and the federal level.
And one other, last year, I guess common sense was and this is a good thing. I mean, I like seeing my next question, but, we've always, when we look at the general fund and we look at it, month by month, we're now, I think a little about 3 million up from last year, same time.
Mhm.
Okay. I knew last year why we'd be up, because of COVID the prior year. We would have closed the schools and we had that. So we were open last year. Where do we account for that extra?
The additional money.
Yeah.
I think we do a much better job now working with departments on whatever those needs are. We're not duplicating services.
Okay. Good.
That was something that used to happen. So we're kind of looking at things a little more closer now.
Good. Well, I knew you were doing that. I just wondered, that's a pretty good savings.
Yes, ma'am.
So, thank you.
If I could add one comment about the enrollment. I spoke with the state superintendent today as well. In terms of the newest census that came out for Montgomery County, the population overall is also down.
Yeah, I
knew
that too. Yeah.
That's true.
Some of the
Good
decreases
point.
in student enrollment.
Yes.
I have one question, and I probably should have asked Chad, but, where in as we're building these buildings and working on them, do we have an allotment for pest control and those kind of things that we will, I'm sure, run against as we hammer and nail?
Yes, we do
Okay.
have an allocation and a line item for pest control for both each and every one of the schools, along with each and every one of the cafeterias.
Okay.
So yes, ma'am.
Very good, thank you.
Additional questions? Are there other questions? Thank you, Mr. Watts. Being that there is no further business on the agenda, this meeting is adjourned. At this time, we will move into our regular meeting. The regular meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Education will come to order. Good evening again to those of you who are new joining us. Please remember to mute all electronic devices. We do still have a quorum. At this time, look at the agenda, please. The agenda was emailed earlier, placed on assembly. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda by unanimous consent. Is there objection? Is there objection? Hearing no objections, the agenda is adopted. At this time, I'd like to make a couple of personal statements, if you'll bear with me. Dr. Brown, members of the board, parents, education personnel, and members of the community. Again, I'd like to thank you for the confidence that you have placed in me and my fellow board members. I thank members of the community for your confidence in this board to establish and to carry out policies that will move education forward, thus moving this community in a mighty way. As a board, we have pledged to serve with fairness, honesty, and justice, and with a full commitment to improving the educational system in Montgomery County for children and for their families. I recently attended 2 conferences which are foundational in how I hope that we are able to move forward. The theme of the first conference, Act Kindly, Love Mercy, and Walk Humbly. I pledge to you that we shall serve with the fairness, the honesty, the kindness, and the justice, and with a full commitment to improving education by providing access and opportunity for every scholar in Montgomery Public Schools. This promise is couched in the theme of the second conference, which we all attended together. We want to be the change. The citizens of Montgomery have asked for, lobbied for, and voted for change. Yes, we want to be that change. As change agents, I'm asking the members of the board and of the community to join me in setting goals for the administration of education in our city that will propel education for our students to new heights. Our tagline, MPS Rising, must be more than a hashtag. We must believe in our work. We must believe in our scholars. We must believe in our educators and staff members. We must believe in this community. Fans of the Netflix series New Amsterdam might remember the drive and the innovation of the new medical director of that facility. His catchphrase, "How can I help?" It needs to be a mantra for each person in the Montgomery area who cares about our schools. When you see something, say something. And before we criticize the efforts of others, let us self-reflect and ask ourselves, how can I help? Thank you. We have a few positive comments to make about our students and our schools. January 1, I attended the Emancipation Proclamation program where I saw 4 of our students being recognized. I would like for this city, this board, to know about the awards and the achievements, the accomplishments of Janelle Wilson, Brubaker Technology Magnet, Tamaya Brooks, Sidney Lanier High School, Charity Fontroy, Robert E. Lee High School, and Jalea Gilmore, Booker T. Washington Magnet High School. I was extremely proud to be in the room when these young people were recognized and were applauded by the community. Additionally, the George Washington Carver High Culinary Arts Department was recently invited to serve lunch for the Faulkner women's basketball team. This program has been invited to several community events, and we are extremely proud of these most talented students. Additionally, we'd like to offer congratulations to Ryan John Allen, the winner of the school-wide Baldwin Arts and Academic Magnet Spelling Bee. Ryan spelled 31 words correctly. Dr. Bridget Johnson served as the official pronouncer for the bee. Baldwin staff members Beth Doyle and Lori Holditch served as judges along with Patina Moss, Baldwin's Gear Up site facilitator. Also, Governor Ivey visited students at Highland Gardens Elementary today. The governor took a moment to visit with our scholars and encouraged them to do their very best. There are always amazing things happening within MPS, and we are continuing to rise. Thank you. At this time, we move into our recognitions. Ms. J. Jones will present those.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Brown, and board members. Tonight we have a few recognitions to share with you, but first we have one of our amazing partners in education here with us to share a few words with you about grants. Let's welcome Mrs. Claire Johnson with Central Alabama Community Foundation.
I'm here on behalf of our CACF President, Burton Crenshaw, and our Board of Directors to give you an update on two funds that our generous donors have created that benefit MPS classrooms, and only MPS classrooms. And usually we would present to the principals receiving the grants, but we had a year-end reception in December, and we decided to award them there so they could be a part of the bigger festivity. So on December 6th, we presented the Mary L. and Eugene C. Van Reading Fund grants to 4 MPS elementary schools, and that totaled $17,731. And we would like to recognize these schools for their initiative in seeking resources to better serve their students. They had to submit a grant application with a project that related to literacy. And so Bree Baker Intermediate School Principal Natasha Starr received $5,000 to purchase digital Lil Libras books and 20 Kindle devices to better engage English learner students and their families in reading. Halcyon Elementary School Principal Shannon Schmidt received $5,000 to acquire adapted books for special education students who advance to a reading level between the curriculums that are provided in the special education classroom and in the general education classroom. And then Pentlala Elementary School Principal Angela Sampson received $5,000 to purchase a guided reading system for third grade students, which will be used to create a reading room for group and individual reading activities. And our fourth grant recipient, Wilson Elementary School Meredith Bishop Principal, received $2,731 to purchase sound walls for kindergarten through third grade classrooms, a project that will be accompanied by Alabama Education Department professional development for those teachers to enhance their reading instruction. And I'd like to thank, I saw her in the hallway, I made her stay. I'd like to thank Dana Gant-Williams, because from the start when we created this project in, I guess, 2020, she has really helped so much to guide us with her education expertise and also get the word out to her reading specialist. And so thank you, Dana. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank the communications department, Jay Jones and Scott Johnson, because they've helped us so much on promoting this, as well as our Donor Choose program. And I do not think CACF could get these funds into the classroom without these three people. So thank y'all so much for all your help. And on that, I wanted to also update you on the Donor Choose Fund. We took a fund and we partnered with Donor Choose as a way to get the funds into the schools in an efficient way. And just in case anybody doesn't know about Donors Choose, that's an online nonprofit site where teachers can post requests for items to support their classrooms, and then individuals and corporations can donate to their projects. In 2019, we created an ongoing program to match dollar for dollar donations to MPS teachers' projects that cost under $1,000. And our new year of funding began in September, and so far CACF has given $19,108, which combined with other donations has totaled $39,567 for 75 projects at 27 schools for 57 different teachers. Some did more than one. And this program, though, as I said, has been underway since September 2019. So we have given a total of $159,361, and combined with others' donations became $300,859 for 623 projects in MPS classrooms. And since I'm here tonight updating on that, I wanted to ask your help to promote it to any teachers you know, the Donors Choose program. And right now, we have some funds we need to move out this fiscal year that we're in. And so we have, in the fall, we started a Match the Match giveaway. So we are matching our own match. And so if a teacher, and we're one per teacher by the guidelines, our policy, but if a teacher has not already gotten one, if they'll go right now to donorschoose.org/teachers and make sure that their overall total cost, including shipping fees and everything, is under $500, because that's the fund amount we can give to each teacher. They will automatically receive their request. If they get it posted through Donors Choose the vetting there, they won't have to get any donors. Although sometimes the donors do it before I can get to it. Sometimes they get other donors anyway. But so we have $34,600 to give away in those $500 Match the Match grants. But any teacher can be doing as many as they want for the 1,000 and less, where we'll do a dollar for dollar match. And I just wanted to make sure y'all knew, so you can promote that. But also, thank you very much for letting me come here. Yes, you have a question?
Could you get that, donor choose?
Sure. DONORCHOOSE.org/teachers.
Thank you.
And then there'll be instructions there on what to do. And they're also welcome to call me if anybody has any questions. But thank you so much for letting me take some time at your meeting. And if there's anything CACF can do to support y'all's efforts for Montgomery Public Schools, please let us know. And thank you for all you're doing.
We thank you so, so very much.
It's always good to have Mrs. Johnson with us. Alrighty, now we're going to switch things over just a bit and take a moment to recognize each and one of you, our school board members. As you all know, January, which is my favorite time because I get to take a moment to recognize all of you for everything that you do. And as you know, we always have you come up for School Board Recognition Month to get your certificate and take a picture with our superintendent. So right now, I'm gonna have Dr. Brown come join me. Put him on the spot. And really, you all, this is a moment to say thank you for our students, staff, faculty, and our community. So we want to say thank you to you all. And for the community, we're running a school board recognition social media campaign. So as you see your school board member, please share and reshare those photos. And we have some cool videos coming up. You did a good job. Alrighty, up first, I think we have Scott getting the camera ready. But up first, we will have Dr. Brenda Coleman to come join us with a photo. Yes. Alrighty, thank you, Dr. Coleman. And next up, we have Ms. Cassandra Brown, who serves as our Vice President. Next up, we have Ms. Claudia Mitchell. Next up, we have Miss Erica Smith. Alrighty. Next up, we have Dr. Lisa Key. Alrighty. Next up, we have Miss Pamela Portis. Alrighty. And now we have Mrs. Pamela Cloud.
Last but not least.
No, no.
No, not really.
Again, as Ms. Cloud is coming up, we do want to say thank you again for all of your hard work to our students and what you do as a school board. All right, thank you all again. Now, also, Madam President, if I may just have one moment here, I would like to take a moment to honor and celebrate our school security officers. As you know, yesterday was National Law Enforcement Day, Awareness Day, and I think Chief Forte stepped out, but we do have Sergeant Bennett and our other officers here who do a great job in our school buildings, here at central office, and really all over the district. So I think they deserve a round of applause for what they do. Bennett. Okay. Inciting the riot there. Okay, yeah. But we do thank them for all that they do. So again, thank you all so much. Thank you. And lastly, Madam President, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge that January serves as Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Now, as a school district that nearly serves 26,000 students, we recognize the importance of ensuring that safety is a priority for all students. Now, starting this week, we will work closely with Dr. Coleman, and we will create a social media campaign that promotes human trafficking awareness. And again, we'll have that on the website, and we will work with appropriate schools. We did last year print signage, and we'll check on that. We'll work closely to ensure that parents and students understand the importance of human trafficking. Okay, Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. On the agenda for public comments and citizen comments, no one has signed up for either of those. So we shall continue to our consent agenda. At this time, excuse me, if there, I'm sorry, at this time we recognize the superintendent for his recommendations.
Recommending that the board approve the consent agenda for today's meeting.
You have heard the recommendation of the superintendent for the adoption of the items on the consent agenda. They are items A through E. Is there a motion for adoption?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the consent agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that we take the superintendent's recommendation and adopt the consent agenda. Is there discussion? Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, all All those in favor, show of hands. Any opposed would have the same option. Let that be recorded as a unanimous vote. At this time, we move to the personnel report.
Madam President, I'd like to submit for approval, I recommend that we approve the certified personnel minutes.
You have heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the certified personnel report. Is there discussion? Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Again, a unanimous vote.
Madam President, I'd like to submit for recommendation the approval of the classified personnel minutes.
You have heard the recommendation of the superintendent for the classified personnel minutes. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for classified personnel.
I second it.
It has been moved and properly seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the classified personnel report. Is there discussion? Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor, raise your hands. Again, we recognize a unanimous vote. Okay, that is where I thought we were, but I had to be sure. There are no other items on our agenda as business items. We need to announce that our next meeting date will be February 14, at 5 o'clock for our work session, immediately followed by our regular meeting. Again, no further business. Our meeting is adjourned.